Hello and thanks for joining us. This political platform on Raper FM, AIT International and AIT Abuja. You can also catch up with us on YouTube. That tells you we are everywhere. My name is Amechi and now there is pressure on the president to speak up on the role he played in the botched reinstatement of Abdul Rashid Mena, the very controversial pensioner boss. Now, recall that the head of service of the Federation, Winifred Oyoita, had in a memo she wrote to the president, reminded him that she raised the issue with him and talked of the dangers of indeed bringing Abdul Rashid Mena back into the civil service. The presidency has not reacted to that letter, and of course, the public knowledge that, of course, the head of service did raise the issue with Mr. President. Now, Abdul Rashid Mena appeared on the TV and again made another claim that the president instructed his aides, including the Attorney General of the Federation, to have a meeting with him with a view to reinstating him. Since that allegation has been made, the presidency has kept quiet. Now, a different scenario here. Why is the presidency keeping mute and quiet? See, don't look. Is it that they are hoping that this crisis and scandal will go away? Or are these people making the allegation not saying the truth? Is the president aware of these situations when he came out to order the head of service to remove Abdul Rashid Mena from office? A lot of questions begging for answers. Maybe if the president comes back from Cote d'Ivoire, where he went to attend a meeting of the African Union and the European Union, these are some of the questions that will be waiting for him. But while in Cote d'Ivoire, meeting with members of the Nigerian community there, he gave some hints that he may contest the 2019 presidential election. It was a form of a joke, not a direct declaration. Many newspapers have, of course, interpreted it to mean that the president has said he will contest, but we shall be giving you the joke the president shared with the Nigerian community in Cote d'Ivoire. Of course, so many other sundry issues. The issue of recovered looted fund has refused to go away. Allegations flying around. The Senate president joined in that campaign, saying the reasons why foreign countries, those that are host to looted funds from Nigeria, have refused and are reluctant to return them is because they are fully aware that once you return this money, it will be stolen by senior government officials. And of course, one issue that the courts appear to have settled has not gone away. The apostles, a judgment exonerated a key figure, Deputy Commissioner of Police DANJUMA IBRAHIM. He was discharged and acquitted. And of course, there's some other policemen, about 2 of them sentenced to death. But he was reinstated quickly by the Police Service Commission, prompting so many Nigerians, including the Senate, which is instituting a probe into it, to ask a lot of questions. Is the Civil Police Service Commission right in reinstating him? Is there some moral burden that could prevent that? After he has been discharged and acquitted, are there any legal encumbrances stopping him from indeed assuming office? And very bad note, the fact that Nigerians are being traded like goats in Libya. So many other countries, there are migrants there living in droves in search of greener pastures, hoping that Libya will be the launch pad for them to cross the Mediterranean to get into Europe. Of course, when they get there, they discover that it is not Uhuru for them, not as they envisaged. We have seen videos online on how Nigerians, Nigerians, Chadians, Somalians, Eritreans, and named them Gambians are being sold away in modern-day slave trade. Adibola Bodu is with us in the studio.
I'm sure you will recall that some days back, when we were discussing this issue of Mena, I raised the issue in a manner that I said there is perhaps the need for a commission of inquiry, a judicial one, to look into this issue.
To be set up by who?
To be set up by the government.
When the head of the government has been alleged to be at the head of it.
Let's presume that at least whoever is picked from the judiciary to head that commission of inquiry will satisfy his conscience and do the job thoroughly. Because there are a lot of things that have been said about this issue that I think we are glossing over. We need to know the truth so that we are clear who did what. Not all these
allegations flying
particularly against the background that the man himself came out boldly that he wants to speak. So if a man is saying he should be given the opportunity to speak, I think Mena should be given the opportunity.
Are you not comfortable that there's a probe by the National Assembly will not unearth all these answers we are looking for?
I'm not too sure, because the man is giving a condition. He said provided no agency of government, security agency, will arrest him and they will allow him to speak freely. So, and I'm not sure that kind of opportunity, that the Senate can guarantee that if he show up in the Senate, that he will not be arrested and probably taken away. That is what the man is running away. And then the issue of Nigeria being sold as goats and sheep and whatever in Libya, it raises one fundamental question, and is the relevance of our diplomatic missions abroad. I recall vividly in year 2001, I was in Libya. 9 Nigerian journalists. We were stranded. We went to the embassy. They were of no assistance to us. So I do not see the situation where it has to take a foreign media to expose what is going on there. These are reports. It just shows clearly that our diplomatic missions abroad are not monitoring. They are not concerned about the welfare and well-being of Nigerians who are in that country. Whether they enter the place legally or illegally, it should be of concern to them. Okay. What sort of report have they filed to the government of Nigeria? And it now take a foreign media to now come out and say Nigeria have been sold as ghosts, and for government to now say we are going to evacuate them.
Well, I think we have to realize that in Libya there is no central government. It's just like Somalia now. Warlords.
That does not take away the role of our diplomatic mission there to monitor what happens to Nigeria who are in that country.
That is Utibe Umaran. Let's bring you in. That is if they have a government to complain to, or a police force or to resort to. In this instance, is the difference.
Bayaboduri said in 2001. In 2001, you had a Muammar Gaddafi who was holding forth,
who was in complete control.
In complete control. Libya was very, very organized. Right now, you have a National Transition Committee Council that more or less midwife the spring against Muammar Gaddafi. Like you said, it's more or less a stateless society as well. Half of it was taken over by ISIS. And right now they're trying to establish control. Remember what happened 2 years ago in Benghazi when the American diplomat, ambassador
was killed.
People you expect to be of that very high level with high-tech, sophisticated security were ambushed and killed. And talk more of people who are vulnerable immigrants crossing from here to there and without any form of security protection. But a point has been made about Nigerian government showing a lot more concern. That's why people have subjected what the president said to a lot of interpretations. They will bring back
every Nigerian
because the president also added a caveat by saying the identities must be verified to be sure that they are really Nigerians. Now, we come from a society where identification system does not exist. Half of the people in Nigeria don't have any form of identification, and people who even leave their countries outside would not even have any form of identification. You only know a Nigerian by his name or by his intonation. You see him in Libya, you talk to him.
But unfortunately, you have across the border there are fluid, no restrictions, many legal points. They are kith and kin, people of character, race. So how do you actually differentiate? A colleague of mine was just telling us in the newsroom before we came on air that despite what is happening to Nigerians in Libya, if a ship berths in Lagos and an inscription there boldly written slave ship, Nigerians will readily jump into that ship to run away from this country, of course, because of the near hopeless situation they feel they have found themselves in. Of course, you remember that every time a Nigerian gets the opportunity, they stow away in airplanes, climbing into tire compartments just to get away from this country. What is scaring our youths away? Is it the absence of jobs, the near situation that maybe you don't have anybody to cry to? We have shouted so much on this program that it appears our politicians are not giving attention to the core issues that affect the people of this country. 82 million Nigerians to be classified as poor, living in abject poverty in 2018, making the country the host of the largest set of poor people in the world. They are talking of 2019 election. That's their focus. Trust politicians. But what about welfare work, moving people out of poverty? Nobody's talking about this. Or they are talking about this in that in as if it's a trivial issue. But let's first hear from you. Let's share some of your comments, your reactions to issues that are breaking across Nigeria in some of the email you sent to us.
Busted.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform.
Hello, welcome to the mail segment on Political Platform. I am Usaitin Yari.
And I am Chidima Enyi. You're welcome.
We begin with Ike in Lagos. He says, the subtle way with which President Buhari declared his ambition to run for a second term left much to be desired. And I ask, is the president scared of stating clearly his intention to run for a second term in office? Or is he scared of the hyenas and tigers who have vowed and are ready to dethrone him as the king of the jungle? What will the presence of Governor Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State and his Bauchi State counterpart, whom Buhari took alongside Bola Tinubu to Abidjan, where he made the declaration, do to the already damaged reputation of the Buhari-led APC government? Is the president's declaration in Abidjan a way of telling INEC to make provisions for diaspora voting? Whatever the intention of the president might be, I believe Nigerians, especially the youths, are wiser, more informed, and are ready to stamp out bad leadership, irrespective of the political affiliations. God bless Nigeria.
And away from that, Izundu Odemena from Obadore in Lagos State titles this one as Nigerian roads are not bad, echoed Mr. Babatunde Fashola. The mail reads, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, without biting his words, was of the opinion that Nigerian roads are not bad, as many think. He said this in his keynote address at the United Nations-sponsored capacity building program for the Federal Road Safety Corps. My question is this. What indices, rationale did he use in arriving at this fallacious conclusion? It is very appalling that he quickly forgot the ebbing and deplorable status of our death-trap roads that the masses ply on daily basis and its concomitant effects on the users. Until we stop politicizing unpolitical issues, things won't get right in our country. Long live our great fatherland, Nigeria.
Clifford Aliozi shares his thoughts on the minimum wage. He says, at the inception of this administration, fuel pump price was increased from 97 naira to 145 naira per litre. This increment brought untold hardship to Nigerians for over 2 years. Workers pay through their nose to survive. Every call to the Buhari-led government to see reasons with Nigerian workers fell on deaf ears. Surprisingly, the same day the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar resigned his membership from the APC was the day President Buhari inaugurated the Committee for Minimum Wage. My God, who is deceiving who in Nigeria?
Alfredo Lan in Abuja reacts on yesterday's analysis. He says, I totally agree with you, Uju, on your yesterday's analysis. Women are the architects of their own problems. If you say they should be considered for political appointments, I will agree with you. But putting it the way your guest did yesterday by not competing with them would not happen. If not now, how many of them involve themselves in politics? I am a student of mass communication. My female coursemates watch African Magic and Z-Word, but not news channels. They are interested in fashion and gossip magazines, but not the recent happenings in the political realm. Go to newspaper stands and magazine stands and see, if you are lucky to find one, what they will be gazing at.
Writing on modern-day slavery in Libya, Churchill in Abuja says, no amount of Facebook hashtags, I say no to modern-day slavery, will end slavery as long as the situation in Nigeria persists. Nigerians will continue to cross the Sahara like camels and swim across the Mediterranean like sharks. Which sane person leaves his country when he has a job and a good source of livelihood? Slavery will not go away for as long as the leaders continue to shortchange the people. Many Nigerians are literally slaves right here in their own country. A situation where someone works so hard, yet earns so little. If that is not slavery, then tell me what is. Until we begin to demand for a better standard of living from our leaders, instead of embarking on fruitless social media campaigns, then we have lost every moral right to complain about anything.
And lastly, for today's mail, Steve is writing from Italy, and he says, Political Platform crew, I want to know what is pursuing Atiku Abubakar from electioneering year to year. Must he always look for a party where he can be granted waiver to contest for candidacy? Why can't he slug it out with a strong opposition within his party other than cross-carpeting? I see this as his weakness, and it's a minus on his side. Secondly, I want to know how you upload your episodes on YouTube, as I always have to search for current episodes every time. Sometimes days before I get notification, as I am a subscriber. Please, you have to do more on this, as many of us outside the shores of Nigeria depend on your program to know the political situation of Nigeria. God bless your crew. God bless Nigeria, my country.
And we have handy here in the studio, Richard Ihejieto, our ICT personnel, to quickly attend to this mail. Of course, you heard some of the challenges he's encountering in accessing our YouTube channel. How do you react to that?
Yeah, actually, there's no problem in the uploads. It's just the network issues. Most times, these uploads doesn't come immediately. These updates. I subscribed also to the YouTube channel in order to monitor it. Sometimes my upload takes a day. My update takes a day before it comes in, but there's no problem. But you can always search for it. Know the episodes, the current episodes. Like today is the 164th episode. You can always search AIT Political Platform EP 164 or know
what of the date, today's date.
Yeah, we always put the date after the episode. They're always the date. You can search easily, make it easily.
AIT Political Platform EP. Thursday, November
20 or
30 or whatever, 2017, and you query YouTube and it will bring up that episode. Okay, you've heard it. Continue to make take advantage of our YouTube channel. Before we go on a quick break, the mass comm students said most females resort to Gossip Magazine and Entertainment Channel, but I can tell you there are many women who can compete favorably with the men handling and, of course, going for the hard news. Some of them will have as our ardent listeners. So it's not all women, but some women. Let's take a short break.
Bust it.
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform.
Okay, thank you so much. We start with DCP DANJUMA IBRAHIM, one of those tried for the killing of Caesar Port traders. He was discharged and acquitted by the court and was reinstated by the Police Service Commission. But there are some hues and cries even coming from the Senate, which is probing that incident. But we are bringing into the program now a lawyer to the Aposis, Amo Binzelu, to, of course, give us his perspective on this developing issue. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Amo Binzelu.
Yeah, I handled the civil aspect of the matter, that commission of inquiry that took place in 2005, and the verdict was that some people should be arraigned for culpable homicide degree 1. So at the criminal aspect of it, I was not involved. So, you see,
go ahead.
At the criminal aspect of it, I was not involved. So what transpired, I did not know. But I had the privilege of reading the judgment of the Honorable Chief Judge, Judge Ayu Bello, and I find it very seasoned and very informing. However, under the law, if somebody has gone through the legal gamut of being arraigned before a court of law, tried by a court of law, discharged and acquitted, the law provides that he should be reinstated back to his position. So the Police Service Commission has acted within the parameters of the law by reinstating the man. I've gone through the law, I've seen the law. So what they did was to reinstate DANJUMA because he went through trial for 12 years. Not only was he discharged, he was also acquitted. Not only was he asked to go home and sin no more, they say that he has not even sinned at all. So I don't know where these issues are coming from. I'm speaking like a lawyer. And because I've seen the law that says so in civil service rules that if you go to a trial, at the end of the day you are decided and acquitted, it means that you committed no offense ab initio. So that's what is happening.
Let's look at this issue this way. You can enlighten us from your legal point of view. The inquiry that was ordered by President Olusegun Obasanjo then into this Article 6 led to the process of prosecution, and the Danjuma was one of those which was asked to be prosecuted based on the Commission of Inquiry. Does it mean that findings of the Commission of Inquiry is no longer tenable?
Okay, the Commission of Inquiry, whatever the findings are there, are not admissible in law. Look at the Commission of Inquiry Tribunal Act. It will tell you so. Because at that level of Commission of Inquiry, there was nobody on trial. Nobody was on trial. Therefore, the level of admissibility is lower than that of criminal trial. But in a criminal trial, the standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. What they cannot prove it, they cannot admit it. And once there's a doubt, it must be resolved in favor of the person that has been accused.
Now, let's look at possible moral implications. Now, we all followed the trial. How, of course, witnesses came up with the fact that the DCP, Danjuma, was the one that ordered that these young persons be shot dead, and at some point grabbed the gun from one of them to shoot. Now, are there moral issues, despite the fact that in a criminal trial, you must prove your case beyond all reasonable doubt? Reasonable doubt. And of course, as you have said, once the judge announces a judgment, we can all say, as your lordship pleases. So, are there moral overhang that will prompt this reaction over his reinstatement?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. Inspector Suleiman Audu gave evidence that when the forces was approaching that junction in Area 10,
Area 11,
yes, he was asked to shoot by DCP Danjuma. He said to him, "They are not firing at us. See, there's no need for me to shoot." He took the gun and went and shot. That was exactly what the man said, Commission of Inquiry. I did not the set of evidence at the trial court, whether that evidence was repeated again there. That is number one. Number two, from the judgment direct, there was no ballistic report showing that Danjuma was the man that touched that gun that shot at that particular time. That is a plus for him at that trial. However, in criminal trial, there's no morality. Morality has no place in our system. Whether civil or criminal, morality has no place at all. It commands no respect. Morality, yes, but it has no place in our legal system. I was involved in the matter. I knew what happened. I saw what happened, and I gave evidence to what happened. But at the level of trial, I was excluded. So what happened there, I cannot vouch for them. So my take is that the Police Service Commission acted within the limits of the law by reinstating him back, because he has gone on 12 solid years. He went on trial. At the end of it, the match this day, they said the man did not commit any offense. He should go home. Not that will he go home and sin no more, but he should go home that he committed no offense at all. Who am I to say no?
Who are we to also object? Thank you so much, Amo Binzelu, for your intervention.
Thank you very much. God bless you, people. Let's keep the flag flying. Let nobody kill his brother again.
Thank you so much.
In this kind of situation, Amechi, you would have expected the state to file an appeal to the action.
Exactly.
If there is no appeal so far on the action, then the Police Service Commission would say that within their right
compelled
to reinstate him back to service. But like you said, moral issues have raised, because he was the most senior officer on patrol that day. And the junior ones who were with him, some of them have been convicted, and they were, like Amobin Zalu said, allegations that he was the one that gave the order for the execution to take place. So what responsibility would you have expected somebody who was the most senior officer in the patrol team, and this kind of gruesome incident happened, and totally he's been exonerated by the court? So it raises a lot of questions. That is why some people sometimes doubt themselves getting justice from the judicial system. But that's the nature of criminal trials.
You must prove your case beyond all reasonable doubt. Of course, I was hoping that the state would appeal up to the Supreme Court. There are so many cases. The ADC to Sani Abacha, that's Hamza Mustafa. After the first court of first instance, they go to the appellate court, and now the case in the Supreme Court. So why is the state not appealing this case to, of course, the Court of Appeal. And if there's a case at the Court of Appeal, then the Police Service Commission will say we can't reinstate.
One of the reasons why this case dragged so long too was that there were reports at that time that DCP Danjuma was a very connected man, very connected. He had friends in very high places. So as much as possible, there were, using the unavailability of evidence and witnesses issues to delay it as well. And when you delay it for as long as it was delayed, 12 years, people have lost interest. Even families of the victims had lost interest at some point. They had been given compensation, I think, of 3 million naira each. And
based on the Commission of Inquiry.
Based on the Commission of Inquiry. And at the time of giving judgment, only few of them even came to the Federal Capital Territory High Court here to witness whether or not they will finally get a closure to this very, very troubling and disturbing incident that happened in 2005.
Okay, tomorrow is a public holiday, Eid al-Maulud. Of course, I think it's the birthday of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, so no work for Nigerians. We hope we have put you in holiday mood with our 30 minutes there. But of course, tomorrow, despite the holiday, we'll still be around to update you. So many things happening in the political and economic spheres of our national life. On behalf of my colleagues, Adeba Bodrin, Utibe Moren, the production team, those that read the mail. My name is Abi Amichiana. Get ready for the holiday tomorrow, but then be a good Nigerian.
Bust it!